Hello, lovely humans. Today we are going to talk about backyard weddings. If you haven't seen Father the Bride, stop watching this video right now, go rent it, and be prepared to laugh your rear end off and then cry at some of the more intense scenes that may hit a little too close to home. The storyline goes like this. Steve Martin is a goof-up Father of the Bride who, when the idea of a backyard wedding first gets proposed, no pun intended, he gets really excited. He thinks, ha! Cha-ching! We're gonna save some money, it's gonna be great, I'm gonna grill up some burgers, it's gonna look like a family reunion. Little does he know, that's not the case at all. As the costs quickly start rising, he struggles to maintain a small semblance of composure while he's drowning in a sea of taffeta and lace. This, folks, is backyard weddings in a nutshell. You may not need live swans or ice sculptures, but inventing a venue from scratch is not for the weak of heart. It's tough stuff, people. And if you're picking your own backyard or a family member's or a friend's in an effort to save a few bucks, not so fast, George Banks. Unforeseen costs can add up quickly if you're not prepared for them. And of course, my intention in this video is to not scare you, but to prepare you for the common pitfalls that come up when you're planning a backyard event. Bringing in professionals to consult you along the way is the absolute best way to ensure that you will be as cost-effective and as organized as possible. So be prepared to invite everyone from your catering manager to your favorite handyman to tour your humble abode. First and foremost, facilities. If you're using your kitchen, most likely it's not equipped to handle cooking for a meal that's larger than 50 people. So inviting over a catering manager to take a view of the space and kind of give you some pointers could be really, really helpful. They may suggest adding a few stoves and a couple prep areas to make sure that you have enough space to feed the guests that you need to feed. And that costs a bit of money. Secondly, parking needs to be considered. The rule of thumb for that is 1 car for every 2 guests. So for 150 people, that is 75 cars. Look at me, I can do math. That needs to fit in your neighborhood. Is that possible? Is that something you can do? If not, it would be a good time to check in with a local grocery store or church parking lot and see if you can hire a shuttle service to bring people from the parking lot to your home. Or you can encourage your guests to Uber. The third facility you'll need to consider is the most important facility, and that is the facilities. In order to avoid lines of like musical festival type proportions, you need to make sure that you have 1 bathroom for every 35 to 50 guests. Now, with 150 people, that's 3 to 5 bathrooms. So unless you live in a mansion, you're probably gonna need to bring in some porta potties. You know what I'm saying? To handle that business. You don't have to get like the construction style blue ones that just everyone dreads going into. You can get a fancy trailer instead. In our area, those run easily around $1,000, but trust me, it's worth it when you don't want guests traipsing throughout your house looking for a place to relieve themselves. The next hurdle to jump over is avoiding the popo. No, but really. So you can avoid them by following a few simple steps. First, check with your local city ordinances for noise, amplified sound outside. Most likely there will be a cutoff time for that, and usually, I think in our area it's around 10 p.m. But if they say 10 p.m., it means 10 p.m. And if you play music much after that, there's a good chance that the police are going to show up. Sure, when they show up, you may be able to skate by with a warning and maybe party for another 30 minutes, but trust me, those blue and red lights are serious buzzkill on your boogieing vibes. Secondly, let your neighbors know of your plans ahead of time. Seriously, just warn them. Let them know what's gonna happen. Go home, make some brownies, peddle them to your local neighbors like a Girl Scout trying to pay her way through med school. Let them know the day of the event, the time, and how late you think it'll run. If they have any concerns, give them a phone number that they can call on the big day to make sure that they call someone that you designate instead of the police to handle the situation. Shameless coordinator plug right here. Hire a coordinator because that's going to be the person who's going to take that phone call for you. You're not going to want your aunt or your dad or your maid of honor to be fielding those phone calls. Hire a coordinator. It's gonna be worth it. Let them know you want to maintain healthy and happy neighborhood relations. And I know that sounds cheesy, but trust me, if you get them on your side ahead of time, you are far less likely to run into the police on your wedding day. Just saying. Lastly, be prepared for the worst. I know this sounds scary, and I know you really don't want to think about it, but you need to get liability insurance. You can check with your homeowner's insurance policy and see if there's a way you can get it through your insurance agent there, or you can go to a place like wedsafe.com or eventhelper.com to get liability insurance for your big day. It's really not that expensive, it's really easy to do, and heaven forbid if something goes wrong, you guys are covered. Likely nothing will happen that will require you to use it, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared, especially when you want to avoid the police showing up at your house. The next item up for consideration is the grounds themselves. This may sound obvious, so I'm gonna preface this with that, but make sure your space is actually big enough to hold the amount of people you want to invite. This would be a great opportunity to invite a a person from the rental company to come out and take a look and let you know how many tables and chairs you can feasibly fit into the space without overcrowding it and making your guests feel like sardines in a tin can. You'll also need to consider all of the electricity that's pumping out to make this event a poppin' party. Hire an electrician to come out and take a look at all of your outlets that you have, because with the DJ and with lights and I don't know, other things, catering that requires power, that's a serious pull of amperage? I don't know. It uses a lot of power, and most houses are not equipped to handle stuff like that. I don't know what the term is, so that's why you need to call an electrician, because your day of coordinator can only do so much. Think about it. A power outage would be probably a major vibe killer. It's hard to dance when there's no lights and there's no music. A lot for that extra cost in your budget. The last pitfall to cover is the emotional toll that it's going to take. When you're inventing a wedding space out of thin air and it's your own backyard, it's really hard to get away from it. You can shut the blinds and pretend like nothing's happening out there, but it is. If it's at your mom and dad's house and you're over there trimming the hedges every other day and meeting with vendors, it's hard for them to escape it as well. This kind of thing takes a crew of devoted loved ones, and when tensions get high, be prepared to set the stuff down and just walk away for a minute. A backyard wedding also takes a lot of time because you are inventing a venue from scratch. Like I said, it takes a lot of effort to pull all of these things together to create the perfect space. On top of vendor walkthroughs and intense gardening, setup and teardown take a hefty chunk of emotional change that you and your family are going to kind of have to wade through to make that event a reality. If your heart is set on marrying your sweetheart in your childhood home, be prepared for the emotional onslaught of late night setups and some serious elbow grease. Okay, so I definitely got a phone call from one of my best friends just now. She FaceTimed me and let me know that she's pregnant, so I may or may not have just bawled. So if there's anything wrong with my face, give me some grace, because somebody's having a baby and I'm real excited about it. In fact, I'll probably insert some of that footage right now because she told me to turn back on the camera. Okay, it's on.
Okay, so I wanted to see what you thought really quick.
Are you kidding?
I'm 9 weeks. We just had an appointment right now and saw the heartbeat and everything.
Oh my gosh! You're so mean! Oh my gosh! You're having a baby!
Yeah.
Krista! My gosh, that was insane. I'm so excited. Oh, babies! But if you can handle all the problems that may potentially pop up, there are some serious benefits to planning a backyard soiree. Number one, you'll be able to customize your event space like nowhere else. If you want string lights, hang them up. You want paper lanterns? You do you, girl. You can do it. You can do whatever you want. You can plant blush rose bushes to match the blush dresses on your bridesmaids. It's perfect. You cannot get that anywhere else. You can't go up to a venue and be like, hey, by the way, these are my colors. You think you can plant some different plants out front? Okay, thanks. No, you can't do that there. But in your own backyard, you can. Number two, you'll also be able to pick whatever vendors you want. A lot of times with pre-set up venues, they have a preferred vendor list or a required vendor list. And if your heart's set on your favorite little Italian eatery for like romantic Lady and the Tramp date night vibes, that may not work out with a standing venue, but in your own backyard, you can pick whoever the heck you want. Number three, this also creates more freedom and room for DIYs. If you're gonna do a bunch of DIY items, obviously I recommend don't do too many, but if you're going to do them, at least you can do them and set them up ahead of time. Because you have all the time in the world, because it's your own backyard, or your mom's, or your friends, or your grandmother's. So you can bring stuff to the site earlier and take it away later. That way, if you're like me and you want to use your kitchen table for your sweetheart table, true story, that happened, it's a lot easier to lug the table 30 feet outside your back door than it is to transport it to a venue space. Uh-oh, baby's awake. Okay, let's see if we can finish this video with him. What do you think? Oh god, here we go. Alright, so now things are about to get interesting because obviously, he's not gonna last long, so here we go. Reason number four that a backyard wedding could be a great idea for you guys is no one else is gonna take your wedding day. You can start whatever date, whatever time, whatever hour. I mean, you could pick, it's your house. Do it, I know, come here, it's okay. So if your dating anniversary lands on, I don't know, May 21st, and you wanna be sure to get married on that day, guess what? You do you, bro, because you can. It's totally fine. Number 5, I know I touched on this with the DIYs a little bit, but because it is your space, you can take as long as you want to set up and as long as you want to tear down. If you go with a standard venue, there's usually about an hour and a half worth of setup time. Oh, sweet boy. Hi. If you go with a standard venue, there's about an hour and a half of setup time and 30 minutes to 60 minutes of tear down time at the end, which puts your family, your friends, and your vendors at a very frenzied pace to get everything set up in time. But at your house, it's much more relaxed. And not that you need to plan for your vendor's sake, and not that you need to plan to have a longer setup or a longer teardown, but it provides you that opportunity, which is just great. He is not having this. He wants me to be done. You want to eat, huh? We're almost done. We only have like one more. What do you want to hold? Because all I see are thumbtacks and a horseshoe. Most importantly, and this is probably the reason why you picked a backyard wedding to begin with, is you get to save that venue reservation fee, which can be anywhere from $500 to $5,000 to $15,000 just to rent a space. Your own backyard is free. Even with the added cost of creating your own wedding space from scratch, you could still end up saving some serious dough. I'm filming right now. So there you have it, folks. I know, we're almost done. There you have it, all the tips and tricks for a backyard wedding space. I hope this helped you out in your planning journey. If you haven't done so already, give us a follow on our social medias. I know. Be sure to like and subscribe for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. I'm almost done. We're so close. Also, if you're interested in consultation hours, I love meeting with brides. Shoot me over an email and we can set a time up to chat through your ideal wedding day. And before this child starts screaming his head off, I'm gonna go. So until next time, bye guys. Goodbye. Hi.